hold on. Just listen to this here. The compilation includes the following games: Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 358 and a half days, parentheses HD remastered cinematics, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Recoded HD remastered cinematics, as well as Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter
2.8?
Prologue, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD, Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage, and Kingdom Hearts X back cover parentheses movie.
More series need to be like this. Oh, they need to be inscrutable.
Well, how the fuck did
Complete
Disney
nonsense.
get entangled in this? Like, of all things to be, like, totally nonsensical, like, how did Disney get involved in this?
Okay, so
this just makes no sense.
I was wrong. It was not the Nokia. It was Kingdom Hearts Mobile, which was for the NTT Docomo, which is the Nippon Telegraph and Telephone abbreviation.
Oh,
Now, hold on here.
oh boy.
What is this Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory? This is a different PS4 game. I don't think I read that off on that listing.
Are all of those listed games supposed to be like actually different experience, or are some of those actually different versions of the same game?
That is an incredibly good question.
I want to play Kingdom Hearts .2 something Dream Drop and a half, whatever.
Dream Drop Distance.
Like Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep.
Birth by
a
Sleep
and then after that it says a fragmentary passage. So what does that mean? Like, is 0.2 like we're gonna give you 0.2 of this story? Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines
Hey there.
and Randall Nolery.
Hey, folks.
And we are back as always to talk about some video games. I don't know about you guys. I've still been doing, I feel like I've said this like this is literally the exact word for word practically phrase I've said the last few times. I don't know about you guys. I've been doing a ton of gaming lately. But I really have been playing a ton of games. Not necessarily digging super deep into anything, but like since I got that Switch 2, I've just been kind of firing up, one game after another, another. And even like with my little bit of video game collecting I've been doing again.
Oh, yeah.
I've been buying a lot of PS4 games and weirdly buying original Xbox games that I don't even have anything to play them on right now. But the PS4 games, I've even been like popping in the discs and making sure they work. And let me just play this for a few minutes. So, I've been doing a ton of gaming and having a bunch of fun too with pretty much everything I've been playing. But
I feel like it'd be a cheap time to collect PS4 stuff in particular. Also.
I agree. I've been getting like some really good games. Like I've mentioned God of War. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but like got that first God of War game for like $9. And it's like, man, this is awesome. Or I got that Crash trilogy for like $9 or $10. And it's not like those games are incredible or anything, but they're just fun to fire up. They've been like perfect for the mood I've been in lately.
Absolutely.
To just like kind of bounce around and play some games that like I can get a little further into than just 10 or 15 minutes without having to like learn a bunch of mechanics, which the Crash games are more than perfect for.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I guess on that note, I've been, like I said, playing my Switch 2 a bunch and games that I'm like number one, you can get pretty immediately familiar with this game, even if you're playing it for the first time. But this is a game that I have played, just a ton at this point, Lonely Mountains Downhill. And that was a game that I played quite a bit on Xbox Game Pass, and that was when I really probably talked about it the most on the podcast, maybe. Mm-hmm. Although John was kind of hooked on it for a while, and I feel like I was playing it on my Switch and then kind of talking about it on there. But I kind of so I did a lot of the unlocks and everything on the original, or when I was playing it originally on Xbox, and then I bought it on Switch because I was like, I'll probably play it more on there. But then because it didn't, number one, quite run as well on the Switch, and then because I was like, I've already kind of done all this stuff, I got to redo all these unlocks again. And then the way that it works in the original Lonely Mountains Downhill, because they've now released a newer like skiing game where they've kind of not corrected, but sort of fixed this quality of lifestyle. Like when you first play like a trail or a track or whatever they're called on, I think they're trails on Lonely Mountains Downhill. Like when you play the beginner mode, you just have to get to the end of the track or the trail with no challenges or whatever. But sometimes the challenges are typically, or they're almost always just either beat it under this amount of time or beat it with this many crashes or fewer. And a lot of times on that first run, I actually do beat that.
You're just
challenge,
too good.
Especially with the crashes, I'm kind of like going a little slower on that first run. I probably don't beat the time very often because I'm not really looking for shortcuts. I'm just kind of like, let me just meander down like the main track for the most part. Maybe if there's a real obvious shortcut, I'll take it. But I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Well, it doesn't unlock it. You have to do it again. Like you have to beat the
That's
level
right,
again.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Which
but
doesn't feel good.
Especially after having already done it on Xbox. So I was like, okay, I'm like doing it again and again and again. And this is like the fourth time. So I kind of like lost a little bit of momentum with it. But that said, now having it on the Switch 2, or, it's the same guy, I didn't like rebuy it or anything. It's just on my Switch 2. And to the best of my knowledge, I did a little bit of digging. I didn't like research it, thoroughly or anything, but I don't think there was any kind of new patch for this that came out or anything, that it got updated now that it's, on Switch 2. But I'm playing it and it plays like a dream. I mean, I think it probably would still look a little bit better on, Xbox Series X or PS5 or whatever other, PC, like a top end PC or whatever. But it looks definitely sharper, but it by far and away, like there were tons of drop frames like crazy, which doesn't really bother me a ton when I'm playing games. But for a game like that, where it's like real precise and like one little hitch in the movement and like, now I'm like right in front of this rock that I'm going to smash into, or, it's like just enough to throw you off with, real precise movements and the way your bike reacts to all the different terrains. So I fired it up on Switch 2. I've been like just chipping away. I've been like basically just beating it on beginner and then it's just like the explorer mode or whatever it is, like the very first challenge where you just have to get to the end. And then beginner usually gives you one challenge of like a time limit and this many crashes or fewer. And if you do it in the crash challenge, if you complete that, then you unlock the next trail typically. And then when you get to the last trail on that mountain, you unlock the next mountain by doing that. So I've just been going through, I've now unlocked every trail in the game. And now I'm just like, okay, now I got to start farming for some of the bike parts so I can unlock more of the bikes. But I've just been having a blast. And I've even played some of the stages that have quite a few like weather effects going on. Like it's pouring rain or there's like a big like sand windstorm brewing up, and it hasn't affected the game at all. Like I never have played any stages that had that happening while I was playing on my actual just regular Switch. Because again, I hadn't played deeper into the game. Right. But even just playing like, just some of the standard stages that have like even just some like running water or something like that, it would really make the game kind of chug a little. Nothing that totally, kept me away from playing it entirely, but now I'm like just kind of re-hooked on this game again. It feels so good to play. This is just one of the best games ever made. It's just, we've said it before on the podcast. I think both John and I, and Randall, I think you've even chimed in a little on this one too, but
I love it. It's a great game.
It's just so amazing. And I'm so glad that it plays a little better on the Switch too. And even kind of fingers crossed that, maybe they'll, patch it and have it run even smoother. But nonetheless, I'm just pumped to play the shit out of this game again. And hopefully, even though I didn't like Snow Riders or the newer game quite as much, I'm still looking forward to grabbing that when it does hopefully come out on Switch 2 eventually. But yeah, just more of the same. Loving that game. And I think I can kick it over to Randall here for a little more Switch 2 action as well.
Yeah. So, we always choose our resolution games going into New Year's time period. And this time around, I chose Yakuza 0 after some deliberation, mostly because I've always, viewed this series of all these Yakuza games from afar and watched them release and re-release a lot of these versions in that time period. And now potentially even re-release with this director's cut. And I think I even had access to this on my Xbox first through Game Pass, and I think at some point I grabbed it on some super sale or whatever. But then I saw I was able to get a Switch too, and I saw this Yakuza 0 Director's Cut was going to be a launch title. Unfortunately, it's a game key card, so I'm not going to buy it physically, but I'll buy it digitally. That's fine. I want an excuse of some quote unquote Switch 2 game to play on this thing. That's not just the Mario Kart game. And so I did. No, this just kind of lines up too well for me. The symbiosis is too strong to not just do it this way. And, John was saying this is a longer game. And, I know that's like all these games, story based. I would not strictly call what these are a JRPG, but they are long Japanese developed story driven experiences. So Mike, you know what? Let's get that on the portable-esque system that's relatively new. That seems like the right home for the first of these experiences, at least, right?
Mm-hmm. And when you say the first, this is your first kind of time digging into a Yakuza game in earnest, right?
Yeah, really. I've not played any Yakuza, and I'd also known historically, this is like a spiritual successor to Shenmue as a series, which I have dabbled in on Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. And this is a Sega developed thing, and I'm always going to, be a Sega guy in my heart. So, it's got that element as well. And then on top of that, I'm like, oh no, I've heard on other podcasts from other people that like me are sickos that are still diehard like Sega and like Turbo Graphics and other things like this. And, some people that I know are really on my wavelength and they're like, oh no, this is like fun, like beat 'em up kind of experience too. I'm like, now we're hitting a lot of different things here. So let's do that too. And that means I can turn my brain off yet again. So I can accomplish multiple goals with this. So
perfect.
Yes. So I played a lot of hours of this. I of course didn't do my homework to see how many hours on my Switch 2 it said I played, but I did finish the first chapter of this game. I definitely did. I took, like I do with any game that allows me any freedom of open world design. I just fuck around for a while and just waste my own time. But I feel like that's kind of another essence of
that's kind of
what
the
I've
point
heard people say
of the game. Is to fuck around and do a million side quests and have Kiryu engage with the world with a childlike wonder, but then eventually just solve every problem by punching it until it goes away.
Yes, which also, here's another symbiosis is also Kiryu's an orphan and but he's like a 20-year-old. And this reminds me randomly we've got an Apple TV and randomly they have these deals where you can get a shit ton of movies for not very much money on that. And one of those collections had The Warriors in it, the movie. Let's watch this The Warriors movie. We did that a few weeks ago. And in that movie, it's a bunch of quote unquote orphans that look like they're about 35, which is just fantastic.
That movie
running around
holds up pretty decently.
Yeah, but it's from the 70s or 80s, so it's not that it still kind of checks out, right? But tangent to say there's a lot of similarities between those experiences and stories and otherwise, and you're just running around beating up gangs, and that's kind of what you're doing in this too,
fighting people with baseball bats.
Or whatever else you can pick up that's around you, potted plants, safety cones, signs for storefronts, whatever you want. Just bash somebody over the head with it, and that's that sort of stuff. But no, it's good. It plays really well for a beat 'em up. It's not the most, I don't know. I'm getting more used to the beat 'em up controls, but it's not the most fighting game driven sort of experience. It's way more just kind of a 3D loose beat 'em up sort of feel to it, which is perfectly fine for me. You get more points in a given skirmish if you don't take hits, but it's very easy to just accidentally kind of get hit once by, a crowd of you typically fighting hooligans,
street thugs,
delinquents,
as the splash screen will put up. Men in black.
Yeah, they just stand around waiting for you. Like they're just, oh, thanks, guys.
When they are drawn to you more if you've gone drinking at one of the bars and are intoxicated. It's
interesting.
Which I definitely did, and I played darts after drinking, and I did pretty well actually, though. I think, which is also kind of a darts experience. But
how much of the arcades have you been to and played?
None. I tried to get into one of the Sega arcades, and I know there's like freaking Outrun and stuff, and like I'm gonna lose my mind. But I either the game was gatekeeping me from going in there at this point, or I think it might have been a story-based thing, or I just didn't try hard enough to get in there when I happened to be around that storefront for the Sega arcade or whatever.
Space Harrier. I was trying to remember what the like on rails, like jumping, shooting, like was.
Get ready. I've got Space Harrier on 32X, but yeah, I would love to play the arcade version via Yakuza 0. That would be great. But no, it's such a cool, it's got a really good
letter.
What's that?
I was just saying that's like such a cool like love letter to their franchises and series. Like the fact that they just bother to put that in these games is so cool.
It is. It's super
cool. And also
cool.
kind of a callback to Shenmue, right? Wasn't there some of that in Shenmue? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Sega has all that DNA and history to draw from, and they were an arcade first sort of developer for so long, right? That drove their whole experience up through definitely the Genesis era in large part. But yeah. In Yakuza 0, there's just a really good, I mean, granted, I've only completed the first chapter, but so far in my initial early impressions, I'm going to talk about this again in the future for sure. Because I'm going to try to beat this as my resolution game. Nice. But it's got the right balance of things to do and interact with, I feel like. It's not too much. It's just kind of like the right amount. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's a little bit of like Sega's version of a streamlined, little bit of a Grand Theft Auto-esque experience, but more like just beat 'em up forward and set in the 1980s Japan. And I'm just fighting dudes every block, and that's perfectly fine. I'm getting money.
Over the smallest parcel of real estate in downtown Kamurocho.
Yeah, yes, that one, the open lot. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I fought the Dojima clan.
Real estate drama.
Yeah, which, to be honest, struck me as one of the more realistic elements of this whole thing.
This is why I've talked about this on the podcast and previous episodes. Is like I legitimately think it's probably the best story in a video game I've ever seen. And
damn,
like, I'm so excited for you to get deeper in because I've seen it, but I've also played the game a little bit, but I've been dicking around even more because I'm like, well, I've already seen this story, so I know what happens. I can do every side quest before moving on.
And you should. Like that like you said, that's kind of the essence of the game. But then like the story stuff, like you said, even in the beginning, and I barely have any historical context of any of this, it's already good. Like and it's not, of course, it's almost going in that there's a certain level of like built-in corniness factor happening there too, but it just lays it on thick. Like it knows exactly what it is. It's good.
On the corniness or cheese factor, how many songs have you done at karaoke?
Oh God, just one, and I got my ass beat. Oh, it was rough. And I'm like, I kind of was like, oh, okay, I just got to press the buttons in rhythm, and I was like, woof, this is coming fast. Yep. This is tough.
It's hard to get a perfect score.
Have you gotten a perfect score?
No, not even close.
I forget too. Is this like a prequel to the series? Or is this like a remake of the first game, or it's a prequel, like a newer game that kind of came out later in the series?
Yep. And then Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2 are remakes of Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 2. So like this one is the first chronologically.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
And I'll say the way that it's designed, I haven't felt like I have some need to have played those for stuff in the prequel to make sense to be.
Like, I mean, if you want a sequential story that starts like at the beginning chronologically, but like also, I just think it's a perfect jumping on point for the series.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's.
I had heard that too, because I think I played a tiny bit of this on Game Pass too, like barely any at all. But I think I had heard that too, like, oh, this is a good starting point. Like, if you're not familiar with Yakuza, this is a good place to jump in. And I was like, yeah, it's one of the newer games on Game Pass. Let's check it out. And I just ran around and beat up a few guys and just jumped to something else. But I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm not in the mood to play this kind of game right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, it is. It is for me so far, just anecdotally. Like I said, I'll talk about it again. I'll get more into probably mechanical stuff next time. But yeah, I'm enjoying my time. It's become kind of a default boot this up for a little bit sort of game for me.
Nice.
Yeah. I like the like hammy presentation of those games. You know, they just kind of lean into the over the top like 80s action movie kind of style, but with like a slightly different edge to it, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's cool.
It's not the Americanized style, you know. It's just like, but it's still 80s camp stuff. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I was gonna say, like, it's almost like 80s action movie with like a little bit of anime flavoring peppered in there or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But why don't we kick it over to John here for a bit of a wild card? I feel like this game came out of nowhere, at least for me.
Yeah, I don't honestly remember why I picked it up or how I picked it up, but it was in my library, and for whatever reason, I got the itch to play it one day, and then it was instantly captivating. And that game is ODDADA, the 2024 game by Sven Algrim, Mathilde Hoffmann, and Bastian Klausdorf, which is as concisely and comprehensively as I could describe it, a toy box synthesizer game. And it is, after playing it a bunch, I can say is the closest anything has ever gotten to approximating what playing with a modular synthesizer is like, but in an incredibly unique way. So ODDADA is a game that will give you these little scenes or dioramas that kind of look like, you know, like a Captain Toad like isomorphic view,
or Kubert,
like that top down diagonal,
but like it'll present you with a bunch of toys, and you have this little like wooden train that like takes you along. There's no text or anything, and you just kind of have to poke and prod to figure out what the game is. And I'm still at the point I've made maybe 6 songs, because that's the core loop of the game. Is you go to these dioramas, you make sounds that are on a loop, and then after you've made maybe 6 tracks per song, then you get to record a like complete song from start to finish. And then you will get a little cassette at the end of it, and you could you save that cassette in a box.
Sweet.
It's so like incredibly like charming and stylized, but in a really interesting way. And like every diorama does a new thing, but like as you do these loops after you've made a song, it'll introduce a new like little train car that will either adjust the pitch or adjust the tempo or do some other thing, because I haven't unlocked all of them. And then it'll take you to another diorama, and the diorama is different and they're randomized, and they kind of all are using like synth terms or like music production terms. They're all quantized, so they're all going to be on the beat, or they're all going to be in like the same tempo or the same time signatures, or like a twice as long or half as long or 4 times as long.
Okay. Nice.
And then they're all going to be quantized in terms of pitch. So you're never going to get something that is off pitch or off key. Like you're always going to be like moving things within a key or something relative to the key. So like you're never going to make something that sounds bad. like
Okay.
arguably. Like you can still make something that sounds, I don't know, kind of dumb, but it is, the odds are stacked in your favor to make something. And like just the way that you would make something with a sequencer on a like synthesizer, where it's like, okay, I have a step sequencer that has 8 steps on it. And whenever it reaches the final step on that, it's going to go back to the start, and I'm going to just work within that. And these loops that you work with it feels very similar when playing ODDADA. And it's really interesting to see how many little dioramas like they've made and how many different instruments they've made. Like these dioramas, so like to explain, they all function differently. So like, and part of the fun is to like poke around and see like, how does this one work? I don't understand how this one makes sounds. I don't understand what this one's doing. But you start to like place little like toy houses, and if the houses are like one shape or color, they'll sound like one instrument. If they're another shape or color, they'll sound like a different one. And then, you know, if there's one that's a lighthouse, so it moves like the triggers for these sounds will occur when the light passes by them, or it'll be kind of like a shock wave. So it's really interesting. Like it's something that it's kind of difficult to explain, because what it's doing is functionally equivalent to like a step sequencer for a synthesizer or something similar, but they're doing it in very different ways that are like visually are based in like some visual representation or some like mechanical representation in a game. And like it's fascinating to see what is essentially like what you might call a DAW or like a VST, and like some sort of like virtual synthesizer, but like presented as a game. And it's incredible. Wow. It's so interesting.
It's an unbelievable concept.
Yeah, the way you're describing it sounds even cooler than it looks, because like when you mention the game, or you know, we have our little Discord thread, and we have like a spot where we just kind of add like the games that we're playing, and I saw John added this game like it's it's ODDADA in all caps, like I think it's ODDADA,
yep.
And it just caught my eye. I was like, what the heck is this game that John's playing that just got added here? And I pulled it up and immediately just caught my eye, but I thought it was going to be more like one of those games like, I don't know if either of you guys have heard of the game called Nog. It's like GNOG.
No.
It was actually it's been in a few of those Itch.io bundles over the years for those like charity bundles and whatnot. And but they're like, it's a cool game, but it's just like, it's basically just like a toy box. Like it's like these little dioramas, but it's just like, oh, here's a little puzzle box toy for you to play around with and just see what surprises are in store, and then when you find them all, it just takes you to another one, and then you go do that. And I don't say that to diminish it at all. It's really cool and relaxing, and like, hey, there's no like challenge here. It's just like, let's just poke around and see what kind of cool things the people that made this came up with, you know.
Yeah.
And it's visually appealing. But I thought that's what this was gonna be. Basically, was just like, oh, a cool little puzzle thing that you just toy around with and looks cool and it's pleasant and that's it. But the fact that you can like literally make songs with it sounds kind of awesome.
And the like end result is, after you've done these dioramas, you'll get these tracks that like you record, and then you can play them, you can adjust the volume of them, so it is like you are live mixing, which is again
awesome.
how you do it on a modular synthesizer or any synth like setup. And the final thing is you have, I don't know how many loops or how long the thing is. I'm guessing maybe like a little over a minute. But it is what I referred to when I actually sent it over to our friend in another band who also does synth stuff, Zach from Oscar Bait. I sent him it, and I was like, the boss fight feels like live mixing a track, where you are given this like short amount of time where it will record from like when you hit record to whenever it like reaches the end of this little track. And while you're doing it, you are live mixing it. So you are muting certain tracks or you're increasing the volume of others. And you're like trying to like do it on the fly because it is a live mix of it. It is not like, oh, you can pause it and make sure that once it hits this time, like it's only going to play this track for this many beats. Like it is like you are physically performing on a like live mix of a modular
on the fly
synthesizer
kind of thing. Yeah.
which is
So cool.
also exactly what I like. Like, I don't like working in a DAW. I don't like working on a computer when I play. I like performing on an instrument. I like having a tactile thing. And this is the only thing I've ever done that feels exactly like doing that. And like I've done, and it allows you to do it and redo it as many times as you want. So like there was a time where I probably did maybe like a dozen or more takes because I'm like, I didn't hit like the transition right on that. I didn't mute this track fast enough. And I'm like, okay, I'm also not going to listen to these cassettes. Like they exist in this game, and yes, you can export them out, but I'm not going to be sharing these with anyone other than, I showed them to Lauren. I was like, hey, look at all these cassettes I've made. And then you can design them, like you can paint, like choose what color the cassettes are and put like little decals on them. Like it's such a like really charming game of like music production. It really does capture the feeling of making music, but like with a lot of guardrails on it. And like,
I was just going to say, like, do you feel like if you didn't have your kind of synthesizer background, this modular synth built into your DNA, like, do you feel like somebody just coming in with no like musical interest, obviously, because you're probably not going to pick up a game like this if you're not interested in that sort of thing. But if you don't have any production or music writing experience, do you think somebody could just jump into this and toy around and be like, hey, I'm more interested to get into it even more?
Like the systems that they've designed every diorama like really well. That is kind of foolproof. Like if you just randomly put like items up, like it may not sound as musical, but like you can make little adjustments. They've made them so that you can like fine tune them to get them mostly on the beat or mostly in tune, and you can just make a really good song by not really doing much. Like
nice.
It's kind of drives the bus itself. It's great.
Does the playing of the cassette from the thing you made actually replay like the visuals of the level in that process too?
No, that is a bummer because like I'm listening back to some of them and I'm like, I don't even remember what the diorama was that made this. But like it has a lot of customization of like changing. This is like, you can basically turn anything either into a melody or into a rhythm track after you've like done a couple like go arounds or made a couple songs. But like I'm still unlocking stuff. There's still so much that like I see that there's like little grayed out silhouettes, and I was like, what the hell is that gonna do? I don't know.
And are you controlling this like entirely like with the mouse, I presume? Or are you doing any
I'm using controller.
Crazy control scheme?
Which may also be adding, that might be adding a little bit of difficulty for the live editing and programming, but I don't know. It's fun. It's a really fun game, and I highly recommend it for, anybody who wants to just like chill out, make cool music.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah. No, that sounds like a blast. I'll definitely, I think it's a cheap enough game as it is. I was going to say, I'll definitely grab this when it's on sale, but I can probably just grab it when it's full price because doesn't seem like it's something that's super expensive.
$10.
Yeah, I think it's, $9.99.
Yeah, not bad at all. But yeah, just to jump over to one more game before we wrap things up here tonight. I don't know if, I know I talked about it on the podcast. I don't know how long ago it's been. But the original Grapple Dog game, I know I kind of raved about on the podcast quite a bit, probably on a Save It for the Cast and some regular episodes. But it was a pretty great 2D pixel art action platformer that I pretty much just loved everything about. Like the gameplay was great, the music was great. The pixel art was great. Like, I just loved every element of the game. Obviously, a few shortcomings here and there, but on the whole, I was like, I really love this game.
Oh, yeah.
And they released a sequel to that game, Grapple Dogs, Cosmic Canines. And the, twist here, you still play as the same character, Pablo, from the first game, but then you also have a secondary character, Luna, which has like a whole, she has her whole own like move set and abilities. And I would say on the whole, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a detriment having those new mechanics thrown into the mix. It's still a great game. I'm having a lot of fun. I don't always play through games, all the way through to the end, and I'm on, I believe, the final boss, although I've definitely missed, I haven't gotten like all the collectibles or anything by any means on any of the stages, and it says I'm at like under 25%, so like there's part of me that thinks there's going to be like a twist after I beat this boss, and like, oh, you got to go back through all the levels again, or you got to go do something in this other dimension, because it does seem like you've been kind of like, partnering up with this one kind of like, I don't know, mage or sage-like character, and you're like trying to take down this evil villain. But then as I'm getting close to this final battle, you realize like, oh, they're both kind of like the evil and the positive and the negative or whatever. They're kind of like just balancing each other out. And like Pablo and Luna are just kind of like, maybe we should just get rid of like both of these guys. Like maybe we don't know who to trust here. Where for up until this point in the game, we've all been fighting for like the one guy. So like I'm kind of thinking maybe they're going to throw a twist into the mix with the percentage and everything that I'm at. Yeah. But on top of the new character thrown into the mix and the main new mechanic that they throw into that, which again, this is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, but Luna also has like a gun, so it's like a twin stick shooter as well. So you're able to like. Some of the stages are like, they're even like, they throw like some just like kind of arcade like challenge stages that aren't like a regular level, and it'll just like shoot all the targets on the stage. But it gets a little bit almost overwhelming to be like grappling to different things and then like aiming your shot at the same time. Like it just loses a little bit of that fluidity of the gameplay. Like it feels like, okay, I got to grapple onto this thing and then just kind of dangle here for a second, shoot a couple things or shoot these enemies. Because when you're playing as Pablo, you can just jump on the enemies. When you're playing as Luna, you can't. You have to shoot them. And then you also have like a dash ability that's really cool. You can dash either vertically, just regular, or you can dash if you hold down either up or... I guess I've never tried it holding down because I'm never trying to get lower, to a lower level. But if you're holding down up, you kind of dash just on like a slight, not even 45-degree angle, but maybe like half of that. But you can get like a little more height. Like if you're like, oh, I can almost reach that ledge. Maybe if I do like a dash, just slightly upward, or you can even kind of wall jump and like then dash back at the wall and kind of cheese your way up some of the different platforms. So there's been like some cool stuff like that where I've been like, oh, I can't believe you can like go around this way and like just sneak past this whole section of the level. There's been some really cool stuff like that. And I would say when you play as Pablo, there's even been some improvements. Like in the original game, you kind of had this like run meter, almost a little bit like Super Mario Brothers 3, like how you have those arrows at the bottom of the screen and they kind of build up. But they like in Mario 3, those only come into play when you're actually holding down the run button. Right. In the original Grapple Dog, it's just like by default, like you kind of like build up momentum, and then once you run for enough time, then you like break into a sprint. Like automatically. You're not holding down a run button or anything. You're just automatically doing that, which sometimes would be frustrating because you'd be like pivoting back and forth, like dodging stuff, and then you'd go to like try to jump over a gap, but you wouldn't have broken into your full run yet, so you wouldn't do a full jump, and then you'd miss a jump. Where this game, like, it definitely alleviates that frustration. Like you just have like your full kind of run speed. There might be like a little build up when you get, going from a total stop, or when you, go do a total 180 in reverse directions. But it's still like, it just feels so much smoother to platform as Pablo and to hop and bop and just destroy all the enemies on a stage. And the levels are way more like, think like Yoshi's Island or Sonic, like just a little more open-ended, a little more exploration focused if you want to find all the like 3 hidden gems, and like you can unlock different like grapples that are just, I think, cosmetic. I don't think they have any extra ability, but it's just like, different visual, aesthetic to your grappling hook.
I'm sure those are heavily playing into that percentage number too. All that stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But I was playing the final boss earlier today, actually, or maybe it was last night. I can't remember now at this point. But you play like, it's kind of cool. Like all the levels, like you either play as Pablo or Luna. Like they're very like scripted to be for this one character or not. But then the final boss is like a 2-wave fight where you have to like kind of beat at least this final quote unquote, maybe not final boss, but like you have to do this one wave of challenges with Pablo, and then it like levels up to the next phase, and then like Luna swoops in and is like, all right, let me take it from here, Pablo, I got this. But it's cool. Like they throw a few new extra abilities like on top of just having like a regular gun. There's like 3 extra abilities so far. There's like an electric ability, some kind of like plant ability, and then a fire ability. So for like Pablo, when you get the electric ability, you can like kind of cling to these like static walls or whatever and like just kind of turn into like a ball and roll along them and jump and just do some cool platforming challenges. Kind of like almost, you're not really bouncing off anything. I was going to say kind of pinball-esque, but you're just dodging everything, but it feels a little pinball-esque at times. And then when you get the plant ability, that's my favorite. It's almost like a different kind of grappling hook. It like shoots like horizontally across the screen until it hits a wall. And then sometimes there'll be like, some soil on the wall. And when you hit it, it'll like sprout some bushes on the wall, and then you can climb up those. But it just like, you can like, even if those aren't there, when you like smash into the wall, you kind of slide up it a little bit. And there's just some really cool platforming challenges where you have to like zip back and forth. And then like, sprout some of those bushes to climb up, and then like zip all the way across the screen and launch yourself up a little bit to grab the ledge. Like it's nice. It's really cool when you get that mechanic. Like that was, as soon as I got to that, I was like, okay, I'm recording a video for this game and I'm having a blast. And then when you get the fire mechanic with Pablo, that was where I was getting a little bit frustrated playing with the Switch 2 Pro controller, because you kind of have this like 360 directional dash that you can just do and like launch yourself in any direction. But it was like so touchy with the controller, at least. Like, it's like, I just want to dash straight up, and I'm just like slightly off the angle. But then you get those same power-ups when you're playing as Luna, but they just apply to her gun instead of like just her general abilities, I guess. So, but same kind of thing. Like Luna gets a gun that can shoot these like kind of soil platforms, and then like bushes sprout on them, and you can walk on them or grab them or whatever. And then when you get the electric ability, I'm trying to think. I know you get like a shotgun, and you can definitely like shoot these like light bulb switches. Like I feel like it's just like kind of like a trigger thing. You just have to have the right weapon to trigger these things. I don't remember anything particularly special with that. And then with the fire upgrade, you just get like kind of like a flamethrower, and there'll be like, vines in your way that are, spiky, and you can torch those out of your way to unlock a hidden path or something like that. But okay. They throw a lot of new cool mechanics and ideas into the mix. But I almost feel like they threw a little too much into the mix. Like they felt like they had to do too many new things. And like, I almost feel like just adding some of those new abilities for Pablo alone would have been enough. And like the twin stick shooting, it doesn't feel bad, but it just breaks up the pace of the game. Like I just found myself like, I even though I'm like playing all the way through it mostly so far, but I'm like, just chipping away. Like I'll do 2-3 levels at a time, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll do 2-3 levels at a time. Where typically me with a platformer, I'm like, let's just rip through like 3-4 worlds at a time, if I'm playing a Mario game or something. So it's like, it's definitely not quite as good as the original, but it's still got that great, like I compared the music in the original, and it's same thing on this one, like almost like to like WarioWare. Like it's got like some vocals in there that's like far out in the background, and like there's just so many, it's just like real funky, and it's got like a pizzazz to the game that you don't see every day. It's like got a Game Boy Advance kind of energy to it,
liveliness.
Yeah, it's just doing something like a little bit different. It's got a cool personality. Like the humor doesn't land 100% of the time, but it doesn't like swing and miss either. It's like charming enough. And it's just, solid stuff. I don't like it as much as the first game, but there are elements of it. Like, it's like, I wish the first game, like, I wish Pablo controlled just like he did in this game in the first game. But nonetheless, small little, nits and picks to quibble at, but it's still a really fun game. And like I said, I don't really play all the way through games all that often anymore. And it's still one that's like partially because I like the first one so much, but it is like enough pulling me along where I'm like, I want to see this through.
Yeah,
So,
it's got me thinking like of games where characters have completely kind of different move sets, and whenever that's like actually worked where it's completely meshed, and I'm kind of grasping at straws that way. I'm just thinking of examples like Sonic Adventure 2 or something, like it's just not
Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Land 2.
No, that's not
yeah,
bad.
Donkey Kong's a better example
Yeah.
for sure, because you can definitely kind of play through. They have a different feel when you're playing as either Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong or Dixie or whatever, but like
Yeah.
you can definitely beat the level with either character.
Right.
But this game, like, I think that the way they're avoiding that, like, kind of.
I think
by
that's the right move.
designing-
Is making a level per character.
Yeah, designing the levels specifically for those characters. But then it does like in this case, at least for me, it's like breaking me out of that flow of just like
Yeah.
getting into the zone with the game instead of. And maybe I would have better luck if I just played the Pablo levels at first and then just like cycled through. But you kind of can't because a lot of times you like. I haven't had to farm for 'em or anything, but you have to you have to collect a certain number of the hidden gems to like unlock the next batch of stages. And usually if you explore enough, you're going to find enough of them to where you don't have to it's not like you have to find 80% of them. It's like not even half, I don't think you have to find. So it's nothing crazy. But it's still, I don't love when games like gate off the level progression like that. Like if I'm beating the levels and you're adding these like extra hidden collectibles in there, those shouldn't be what are like letting me unlock the next worlds in the game.
Yeah,
But I think
maybe
the first
like
game worked like that too.
Extra levels, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
above
bonus
and beyond
levels, like-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love in like Donkey Kong Country Returns and stuff where it's like get Kong on every stage in the world and then you unlock that like extra challenging like
Yeah.
temple level. That's like the perfect way to do it in my
agree.
opinion. But nonetheless, I don't mean to like bash this game by any means. I'm having a good time with Grapple Dogs, and I'm glad I finally own both of these games. I was kind of holding out, like maybe they'll release them physically or like a bundle with both games. But at this point, I was like, $10 is cheap enough, or whatever it was on sale. I think it's normally like 18 or some weird price. It's like less than 20, but it's more than 15 normally. But I was like, 10 or less, that seems like a fair price to have a good time with this game, and I'm definitely having that. So.
Nice.
I don't know. Anything else you guys want to gab about before we wrap things up for the night here?
Good for this week.
No GABA.
Nice. Nice. Well, yeah, as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com and pretty much everywhere else. Just look up Pursuing Pixels. And yeah, as always, I was literally just going to repeat the exact same sentence I
You
just said
can
there.
repeat the same
always.
thing. It's fine.
So
It's a sign-off.
Until next week, we'll catch you guys then, and take care.
Bye-bye.
So many. Sorry, hold on. I have to kill a spider.
You gotta catch it in a jar and let it outside.
She just made a spider drawing. That would have been great. Yeah,
I love it. That's so funny.
that's great.
I'm gonna jot down guardrails. John was just talking about the guardrails they put up. He's always doing me the favor, remembering what I was talking about earlier. I was like, "What the
Yeah,
heck
he's
was
good
I
at
in the
that.
middle of saying, I know he's saved me so many times.
Yeah.
where he's
I'm-
like, "Oh yeah,
I'm-
you were just saying this," and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't even remember." He's like, I was like, I'll even sometimes be like, "I do remember that I was saying that, but I still don't remember the point that I was gonna make about it."
We have the same sort of sludge brain that way, just in the flow, and now it's gone. And just yeah.
Because it's like I'm already like when I'm in the middle of a sentence, like I'm saying the thing I'm saying, but I'm already thinking about the next thing I'm going to say.
Oh yes,
And
or somebody else will also say something, and then it'll be like another track of I have something interesting. I'm thinking about that too. Yeah.
Yep. There was one point when John was talking about whatever, and I was like, I had one thing pop into my head, and then another thing popped into my head, and then I was like, it's like the 7-10 split in bowling. I was like, which one? Which one am I going to follow up on? And then I lost them both.
Yeah. Then there.
Too funny.
I always vacuum up the spiders that I find in the house. Well, some spiders I let live, but if they're aggressive guys, then they get vacuumed up by the old canister vacuum that we have in the house.
Yeah. I let them. I pretty much let them all either live, or if I see them and they're easy enough to catch, I just like catch them in a little jar and then let them outside.
Yes, I do that move too, and throw them outside. I can do that too. Just you get to survive today, buddy.
Yeah, which one of my friends, I would always say that I did that at work, and one of my friends like sent me a little comic book strip thing of like showing like this person like catching a little bug and.
I was hoping for a little spider drawing or something. That would be pretty good too.
Yes, she just drew the spider.
She just comes in and does the itsy bitsy spider dance or whatever.
All right, what was I talking about?
I actually it was funny you asked, because I jotted it down because I was like, John always saves my ass so many times when he's like, I'll be like, what was I saying?
Bless you.
Mm-hmm.